Ever since the human has existed, food has been its number one need. From the cavemen running after mammoths, Cleopatra's beauty routine with milk baths.
I love this stuff. Do you know, I used to bathe in it before I got this fridge freezer.
The grandiose appetite of Vikings, to the first open McDonald's, the food consumption style, and so to speak, amounts of food waste have changed. The 19th century cookbooks were addressing the food waste. As Isabella Beeton wrote, "Great care is to be taken so that nothing that could be used is thrown away or suffer to be wasted in the kitchen." However, the proposal to make the most of leftovers largely disappeared from cookery books in the post-World War II era, with rising incomes, full employment, and fridge ownership. The global food relations moved from scarcity to surplus, and agricultural productivity rised, and food rapidly became cheap and available in large quantities. The concerns about food shortage and food waste disappeared, and it fueled the invisibility of these things for years, as consequences of rapid economic expansion, unsustainable resource use, and out-of-control consumerism.
Food waste is a big global problem. There are a lot of people suffering and starving, which is not necessary. Also, the CO2 emissions that come with food waste are enormous. The sad truth is that there is actually enough food produced to feed everyone on the whole world. According to the FAO, 1/3 of all food produced is wasted. This is about 1.3 billion tons of food and costs the whole world more than $900 billion each year. Also, the total amount of CO2 emissions from the food waste is more than the whole aviation industry, according to the World Resources Institute.
Marketization, as mentioned in Unboxing Marketing by Hartman, is a guideline principle present in most Western societies where anything can be consumed, therefore marketed. Food waste won't be the exception, and through apps like Karma or Too Good To Go, we can see that clearly. These mobile platforms consist basically on selling at a discounted price the food that is not good enough to sell at a normal price, but neither bad enough to be thrown away. The Swedish company Karma claims to give the opportunity to their affiliated businesses of at least 100,000 Swedish krona extra yearly. We can see how consumers of these platforms share the same value for sustainability, making this market an ideal scenario for sustainable marketing to help solving a big sustainability problem. At the same time, it's also possible to identify characteristics of the anti-consumption behavior shown on the book Unboxing Marketing, where even though users are going against the typical forms of food consumption, there are still consumers who generate revenue for restaurants and grocery shops.
There is a common misconception that ugly food is bad food. Although this is not true, it has contributed to food waste globally.
Hello everyone, welcome to Stockholm University News. Since you all know, food waste is getting a bigger and bigger issue of the world. That is why we did some interviews to ask people what they think about food waste and how to prevent it. We will switch now to our live reporters doing some interviews.
What do you think about food waste?
I think personally it's destroying our planet, and I think we should prevent it as much as we can.
I think in general it's a shame that a lot of food, both from supermarkets and restaurants, go to waste. I think that should be prevented as much as possible.
I think that nowadays there is more food offer than buyers. In supermarkets you can find a lot of various food, and I think that people are becoming more and more spoiled about this. They just buy what they see and what they want and don't think about consumption of this food in future.
People throw away a huge amount of food which can be eaten by not only by humans but at least by animals.
How do you personally prevent food waste?
So I still live with my parents, so I don't buy food regularly, but before we go for a big purchase, we plan what to buy, and for example, we plan food and what we will eat for 1 week, and then we will go to supermarket and buy it.
I freeze the food I don't use. I only buy the products I know I will need. And I sort my trash. And I probably will be sharing my food if I don't finish it.
I try to never leave any food on my plate. I try to always eat everything and finish at least what I ordered or what I make. So I throw away as little as possible. And I always look in the fridge and see what I.
I don't look on expiration date. I only try by smell or by taste. I think when it smells good is eatable.
Yeah, and what is the solution to food waste in your opinion?
In general, I think it's quite difficult, especially for like grocery stores and restaurants, to prevent. And I wouldn't really know a solution. I think on the personal level, everyone can do their best to use the things that they have. And in that way, at least at home, try to prevent it.
I think something called food banks is a great solution. Food banks is basically where stores have food they don't use or is almost out of date, and you use it, and it's basically a free store where you can just pick up what you need, like bread is going to go bad in like 2-3 days. You can pick it up at the store for free, and I think that's a great solution for like small towns or like big cities, depending on how we do it. And I think we should hold big companies accountable for what they're doing.
Food from supermarkets that would be throw away, that can be given to farmers to feed some animals.
People should become more humble and only buy such amount of food as they will consume. And maybe a good idea is to have a dog which will consume your leftovers after you eat.
And have you ever used apps, Too Good To Go or Karma, that prevents food waste?
No, not personally, because I don't have a bank ID, so I cannot really buy or do anything on my phone right now.
Never, I don't think so.
I've used Too Good To Go, but I always found it a bit like you don't have. It's not that. It's not really at a very high level yet that it's very accessible and easy to use. Because a lot of things, especially from supermarkets, are typically quite far away, especially if you live somewhere central. So I hope that improves in the future. But right now, I don't use it that often.
No, I don't hear about this.
Generally, most of the people, when asked, consider food waste as a global environmental problem. A lot of them think that the main source of this problem comes from restaurants and supermarkets. Solutions that they offered were pretty similar to what apps like Too Good To Go or Karma do. Another solutions were to make expiration dates shorter, plan carefully whenever buying a bigger amount of food, or just store each type of food in the right place. We found that people from Sweden have already used or at least heard about Too Good To Go, but people in Czechia and Slovakia have no idea this app exists, which is probably because food waste is not considered a serious problem there, and maybe because less rich countries just waste less amount of food.